Imagine this: you have just received $100,000 in cash. Now what's your plan for it? Put it in a savings account, take some big risks in the stock market, or what if there's a way to turn that $100,000 into a steady, reliable wealth-building machine with minimal effort? Today, we're breaking down 5 of the best Fidelity index funds that could transform that $100,000 into future financial security. Each fund offers unique benefits, from broad United States market exposure to real estate, international diversification, and dividends, and I am going to show you exactly what could happen if you invest in all 5. Let us dive into why index funds are such an ideal choice for those who want their money to grow without the constant stress of picking individual stocks or timing the market. Index funds are a powerful solution. They're designed to follow entire markets, not just 1 or 2 companies, which means that when those markets grow, so does your investment. Think of index funds like a train. Rather than being the conductor constantly checking on every single piece of equipment, you're just on board for the ride, enjoying a steady journey forward. Now, Fidelity's funds in particular have a stellar reputation for long-term growth, low fees, and strong diversification. Let's jump into the first fund that makes this list. The first pick is the Fidelity 500 Index Fund. This fund tracks the Standard & Poor's 500, meaning you are essentially investing in the 500 largest, most stable companies in America. Think of this as owning a small piece of nearly every major industry: technology, finance, healthcare, energy. You name it. Some of the biggest names in this fund include Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and investing here is like holding a stake in these industry giants. Over the past decade, the Standard & Poor's 500 has delivered an average annual return of around 10%. So what does that mean for your $100,000 investment? If you let it sit untouched for just 10 years, that $100,000 could potentially grow to nearly $259,000 by 2034. All based on that historical 10% return. That is compound interest at work. And the best part is, you do not have to lift a finger. Why go with a large cap fund like this? Large cap companies, the big corporations in the Standard & Poor's 500, are generally more stable. While they may not be growing at hyper-fast rates like small startups, they offer steady, consistent growth. With Fidelity 500 Index Fund, you're not just buying stocks, you are buying security, stability, and long-term wealth potential. If you are looking for a strong foundation in the United States market, Fidelity 500 Index Fund is it. Now, while the Standard & Poor's 500 focuses on the biggest players, let us look at a fund that covers the entire United States market. This brings us to the Fidelity Total Market Index Fund. Unlike Fidelity 500 Index Fund, which sticks to the top 500, Fidelity Total Market Index Fund goes much broader, tracking thousands of companies from giants down to up-and-coming businesses. Why is this important? Because sometimes, those small and mid-sized companies offer some of the highest growth potential. And with Fidelity Total Market Index Fund, you're catching it all. Think of it as casting a wider net. You get exposure to high-growth companies as well as stable giants. Now, what could that $100,000 investment look like if you put it all into Fidelity Total Market Index Fund? Like the Standard & Poor's 500, Fidelity Total Market Index Fund has averaged about 10% annual returns over the past decade. So if that trend continues, your $100,000 here could also be worth around $259,000 in 10 years. The difference is that with Fidelity Total Market Index Fund, you're not just relying on the Standard & Poor's 500 companies, you are capturing growth from every corner of the United States market, from large to small. This gives you a broader base and can offer even more diversification. Imagine owning a part of companies just hitting their growth stride. You do not have to worry about tracking each one because the fund does the work for you. Let us shift gears a bit now and talk about global diversification. The third fund on our list is the Fidelity International Index Fund. This fund takes you beyond the borders of the United States, giving you access to companies all over the world, from Europe and Asia to emerging markets. Think of it as your investment's passport to some of the biggest global giants like Toyota in Japan, Samsung in South Korea, and Nestle in Switzerland. When you invest in Fidelity International Index Fund, you're building a safety net that can help smooth out any United States market dips. Why is international diversification so powerful? Well, when United States markets slow down, often international markets are booming, and historically, this fund has delivered returns around 8% per year. Let us break down what that means for a $100,000 investment. At an 8% annual return, that $100,000 could grow to around $215,000 in 10 years. It is about balancing your risk. If the United States economy has a tough year, global markets might still be growing. This international exposure is a way to diversify, add safety, and capture gains in growing economies across the world. Now, for those who prefer seeing their investments give back regularly, our fourth fund will be especially appealing. Enter the Fidelity Dividend Growth Fund. This fund focuses on companies that pay out dividends regularly, which means you're not just waiting for growth, you are getting paid quarterly as well. Dividends are like mini cash payments from the companies in your portfolio, meaning with Fidelity Dividend Growth Fund, you can reinvest them for faster growth or even cash them out as income. And these dividend-paying companies tend to be stable, profitable, and resilient, which can be an advantage during volatile times. Here's what is exciting about dividends: they give you flexibility. If you reinvest those dividends, your balance grows even faster. If you are using them for income, they become a passive cash flow that you can rely on every quarter. Historically, Fidelity Dividend Growth Fund has returned about 9% annually, including dividends. So, if you invested $100,000 and reinvested those dividends, you could potentially see around $236,000 in 10 years. With this fund, you are getting growth and income, adding a unique element to your portfolio. Let us round out this list with an investment type that many people do not think about with index funds: real estate. The Fidelity Real Estate Index Fund gives you exposure to real estate investment trusts. This means you are investing in various types of real estate, from shopping malls to apartment complexes, without having to deal with property management. Why is this important? Real estate has historically been one of the most reliable assets for building wealth, but it usually requires high upfront costs and ongoing maintenance. With Fidelity Real Estate Index Fund, you are getting real estate exposure without the hassles of being a landlord. So, what could a $100,000 investment look like here? Historically, Fidelity Real Estate Index Fund has provided returns around 8 to 9%. Similar to Fidelity International Index Fund, if we conservatively estimate an 8% return, your $100,000 could grow to about $215,000 in 10 years. And because real estate investment trusts are often less volatile than other stocks, this fund can add an element of stability to your portfolio. It is an efficient way to diversify without having to make real estate a full-time job. Alright, now that we have explored each of these funds, let us put it all together. Let us say you decide to diversify and invest your $100,000 evenly across all 5 of these funds, that is $20,000 in each one. If we average out their historical returns, we get about 9% per year. What does that mean in real numbers? With an average 9% return after 10 years, your $100,000 investment could be worth around $236,000. But what if you look even further down the line? After 15 years, that investment, still averaging 9%, could grow to roughly $366,000. And after 20 years, that balance could be close to $560,000. Imagine that, over $500,000 from a single $100,000 investment, with no extra contributions. That is the magic of compounding and long-term investing. This diversified portfolio is not just a strategy for today, it is a long-term plan that allows your money to grow steadily over time. By investing across these different funds, you're spreading your risk, protecting your portfolio from downturns, and positioning yourself for stable growth across various sectors and markets. Each of these Fidelity Index funds plays a unique role, from the stability of large United States companies in the Fidelity 500 Index Fund to the broad market exposure in Fidelity Total Market Index Fund, the global reach in Fidelity International Index Fund, the income potential from Fidelity Dividend Growth Fund, and the real estate exposure in Fidelity Real Estate Index Fund. If you are ready to make your $100,000 work for you, consider these 5 Fidelity Index funds. With a simple, steady strategy like this, building wealth does not have to be complex. The best part is you do not need to be an expert to get started. These funds are designed to perform over the long haul with minimal maintenance. Remember, building wealth takes time. But with patience and consistency, these Fidelity funds could help you reach your financial goals. Thanks for tuning in, and happy investing. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tips on building wealth and maximizing your investments.